Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland. Tonight I wanted to talk about Paul McCartney and the proverbial elephant in the room. Am I talking about his voice? Well, yes, but I'm also talking about the almost classic textbook example of denial concerning some of his fans. All right, so first of all, I wasn't planning on shooting a video today. As a matter of fact, I just got one of my newest videos up and running, and to relax and fall to sleep, I decided to watch tidbits from the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. Of course, they had a plethora of hosts and alumni and everything else show up for the show, and often the show was more embarrassing than it was actually funny. Now, Paul performed Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End, the whole piece. And all I got to say is I was very surprised at his voice. I've made videos concerning his voice in the past, that it's not in the best of repair. But over the last couple of years, it seems like his voice deteriorates almost every month to a new and lower level. Now, I just watched a stream of a couple of fellas talking about this exact performance, and one of them even said, they were saying, hey, come on, the guy's 83. If you're going to be that picky about his voice, you're no true Beatle fan. And to that, all I can say is bullshit. Now, I've been a Paul McCartney fan, him as a solo artist, ever since his very first album, the McCartney album. Now, I have to admit, I'm not one of those fans who will go and see an artist 1,000 times. If I get a chance to see them 2 or 3 times over a period of a couple of decades, I feel very fortunate. And with Paul McCartney, I have actually paid to see him 3 times. The first time, 1976 at the Cow Palace, Paul McCartney and Wings playing, good Lord, it was a concert of what seemed to me to be nothing more than number one hit after number one hit. Now, it was last year when I did a couple of videos on Paul McCartney. I had been watching some of his live performances right here on YouTube, and I could tell, and I claimed then, that there is vocal reparations being handled live with his voice. I hear auto-tuning and several other special effects when he sings live in front of a stadium. And when I heard that he was doing 2 or 3 surprise, hey, I'm showing up, let's do a gig in New York City, I thought, well, maybe the man has had some time to rest his voice and he's getting ready to tour. We know that he's been saying he's been prepping a brand new album to be released sometime this year. And so I was curious as to how he would sound on Saturday Night Live. Now, I had to start that video several times to confirm that I was actually hearing what I was hearing or what I wasn't hearing. And what I wasn't hearing was a decent vocal performance from Paul McCartney. As to those who say, hey, look, the man is 83, you should be happy that he's even showing up, croaking out tunes that he used to belt out so very easily. All I can say to those fans, and we've seen those fans recently, haven't we, folks? The exit interviews after these surprise concerts, all of them coming out of the venue in a state of euphoria, all claiming that Paul McCartney sounded absolutely brilliant. Less than 24 hours after his last show, he's on Saturday Night Live doing one of his most famous pieces, in fact, one of the Beatles' most famous pieces, from side 2 on Abbey Road, and all I can say is I felt embarrassed for the man. Now, we all age and we lose a step here and there, whether it's our voice or our physical bearing. And each and every one of us, and Paul McCartney is no different, has to come to a point where they face the facts about getting older. And it also makes me very hesitant and rather doubtful concerning what he's going to be offering us on this supposedly brand new McCartney album coming out in 2025. But these are the times we live in, folks. A couple of years ago, we saw them basically cart out Phil Collins to the Genesis farewell tour. These days, we're seeing Ozzy Osbourne making promises about showing up and performing with Black Sabbath right here in 2025, and yet as time goes on, word of mouth is spreading from some of his inner core people that he's just not going to be up for that. Now, I mean no disrespect to Paul McCartney. If there is one artist in rock and roll that is my favorite single artist of all time, it's Paul McCartney. But I think it may be time for him to face the facts. The same facts that Frankie Valli of the Four Seasons won't face. I mean, just take a look at some of the videos of Frankie Valli performing. It's almost like a motorized corpse walking up to the microphone, not even totally cognizant of where he is and who he's performing in front of that night. All I can say is, for me, I've already made up my mind. I'm not interested in seeing Paul McCartney in another show. And frankly, it's because he is not up for it. He does not have the vocal chops. His musicianship is fine. I'm sure his songwriting talent hasn't disappeared. And in my humble opinion, I think it's time for Paul McCartney to face facts and just focus on perhaps just writing material for other artists to record. Or at least that's my viewpoint. How about you folks? Are there some of you out there that say he's such an icon that it doesn't matter that he's quite up to snuff vocally or not? The fact that we are still getting him live performing is a miracle in itself. Or are you like me, who expects top dollar performance for the money I spend to see an artist live? All right, folks, that's the video for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That helps the YouTube algorithm send this video out to a wider audience. And by the way, if you haven't subbed to the channel, that's easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, tap that top bell icon, and you'll be notified of all my future videos. All right, folks, I want to hear from you. Do you agree with me regarding Paul McCartney, or do you disagree? Either way, I want to hear from you. Put it in the comments, because that's where we always prove we are the tribe.